song.
Use the Force, Luke.
Sometimes truth isn't good enough.
I feel the need for speed.
Ray, when someone asks you if you're a god, you say yes!
Because it's their time. Their time. Up there. Down here, it's our time. It's our time down here.
Yeah, it's Wednesday again already, guy. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? Guys, it's FrostCast. It's Wednesday. It's 9 o'clock. I think this is episode 30 if I didn't screw up the thumbnail again. Did I get it right this week, dude?
You got it right. You got it right. You're right this time.
And of course, now I can't hear you and you're muted to death. That's not good for the show. That's a rough start. We're going to let King Z figure that out for a quick minute while I take a few seconds to say thanks to everybody that popped in last week. We super appreciate you guys being here. The sub numbers have been going up quite nicely. We appreciate all the extra engagement we're getting in the comments sections and the chats week to week. There's a bit of programming notes there. We got the socials right there below my name. You guys can give those a check. We are going to do a little bit better about posting more regularly, but for the time being, it's mainly the Twitter and the Facebook. And Winter Wolf's down on both those.
Yep.
King Z, are you still muted, dude?
I'm not muted. They can hear me.
Still can't hear you. Oh, wait,
you can't hear me.
Wait a minute. It's doing that thing again. I remembered. It was me. You're not muted, right?
I'm not muted.
Yeah, no, I forgot to disengage the Bluetooth on the phone. It's been a while since I made that gaffe. There we go. Oh, dude, Derpy, welcome in. We're 100% going to get to that when we get there, dude. Don't you mind that. We're going to start with the new segment tonight now that I can hear King Z and I'm not boomering up my own show. I just got to think of myself, everything after 2015's kind of been garbage. I mean, it really has. Without a doubt, the 90s is the best decade. We had the best games, best music, best movies in a lot of places, best comics, I would say, too. Image got off the ground. That's some of my personal favorites there.
That's my time period.
Dude, X-Men 97 was it. Except for the Batman situation in the theater. Like Batman, what was it? Batman, what was the third one? Batman Forever. That was like Batman a mark. Forever. That was slide into some cheese. So the 90s weren't perfect, but dude, they make me a lot happier than I look around and I see anybody that's happy, in this time frame on this timeline that's, that was my age then, like that they are now. It doesn't really add up for these folks. People are fucking miserable, as it seems to me. So we're going to start a new segment. We're just going to pull some headlines from back in the day. We're going to try and keep it like 30 years ago this week in the 90s. I just want to just kind of remind King Z what was going on. I know it's like basically a clown show. But, this week, February 18th to the 24th in 1995, some interesting stuff happened. I'm just going to give King Z a shout here. I know he's a big fan. I know he's seen her on tour at least 9 times. Madonna's Take a Bow topped the charts in 95. Remember that jam? A little slow jam from Madonna? Yeah. Take a bow. Yeah, that one. Yeah. Something. Yeah, I'm not going to sing the rest of it because, we don't have enough viewers as it is to go ahead and alienate people.
And you're kind of off key anyway, so I'm
terrible. This week in the movies, you remember the Brady Bunch movie? You remember that?
Yeah, that's the one where Ben Stiller's wife played Marsha.
Yes, it's pretty much a dead ringer for the original on Marsha.
Yeah, she actually pulled off the look quite
dead
well.
ringer. The only other thing that they got perfectly right on that movie was the sound of the Brady kids fluttering down the stairs. That like they did that. I think they just used the old sound effect. Yeah, I think they made a sequel to that too, didn't they? Did they do a Brady?
Yeah,
they did
a very Brady sequel.
They do a Christmas movie?
I don't think so.
Maybe they did. Did they have Cousin Oliver in either of these damn things? I can't remember.
I don't think so.
Oh, good. So these movies are pretty decent then. Do you remember a little TV show called ER?
Yes.
Yeah, dominating the ratings back then and this week. I think
that's when it had the original cast of Noah Wiley, George Clooney, and Dr.
And the guy
Green.
That played Goose. Yeah, that was Dr. Green was Goose, right?
Yeah.
Nice. And a couple of other quick movie notes, and I don't remember either of these two. I guess these are the number ones that came out during the that week. The Hunted, starring Christopher Lambert as a businessman who became the target of assassins. I don't remember anything about that, unless he had a sword in his hand. I don't remember seeing him in a movie in the 90s.
No.
I don't think it was that. And then there was a movie not related to the franchise of zombies that we all know from, current years. This movie called The Walking Dead. a war drama featuring Alan Payne and Eddie Griffin, focusing on African-American Marines during the Vietnam War. You're a war movie guy. You ever heard of that one?
I think I have. I do.
Like
I think I do
30 years
remember that
ago.
one. Yeah.
Oh, true. And then the only other one I think I had here for this week, it was kind of, maybe it was a slow week in February, 30 years ago as well. Seinfeld hit 100 episodes this week in 95. So I think that was one of its first, one of the first shows that kind of made popular the clip show. I think it was that one.
That was that's a big milestone for all TV shows. That means you've been on for at least 5 seasons and you've had a good following where you haven't, hit the normal stumbling blocks. Most seasons back in the day, or most series back in the day, ended about 3.
Oh wow! I didn't realize that it was they were that pressed for time for seasons back in the day. I feel like old shows like that from the 90s just kind of went on for like forever, even if they sucked. Like they were just always getting renewed and coming back to things.
True.
I guess not. But that was the week in the 90s. I think we're probably going to switch gears. I'm just doing a little housekeeping behind the scenes to look for my list. I can't. Oh wait, nope. It was in a whole separate list that I had saved there. Never mind for the topic that's coming up. But I don't know if you wanted to maybe load up a little something for a trailer that's coming through. I had no idea this was even a thing. No idea.
February 21st, The Monkey is being released, which is a adaptation of a Stephen King short story.
Short story.
Yep.
Monkey Shines. Right?
Yep. And technically, yeah.
Rip my hearing.
And it is also not a true adaptation. It's almost kind of like a sequel to the short story.
Oh, all right. Cool. Because I was gonna say, if I actually do get out to see this week, we got some real garbage weather coming up here too, as I kept you in the loop earlier in the week. I'd probably go check this out. I didn't know if I had to go dig up the original Monkey Shines movie on Tubi or on Shudder or something to give it that kind of comparison. But if this is a follow-up, I'll just go check it out on my own time, take a little solo Winter Wolf time away from everybody at the house making all the noise, and go check out a little horror movie by myself. I had heard somebody tell me that they think it's supposed to be in the kind of vibe as like a Shaun of the Dead, like a little dark comedy, but I haven't seen the trailer, so I don't know. This is gonna be news for me as well.
All right.
You ready to do this? Let's do this.
Yep. Screen it.
Hit it.
Everything okay up there?
Yeah, everything's fine.
Oh, that's odd. I don't remember locking this.
You wouldn't happen to remember if my aunt had a wind-up toy monkey at the yard sale?
Oh, not a cherished childhood memory now, was it?
No! The coroner said it was an accident, but it was no accident. It was a monkey. When I was a kid, my twin brother and I found something that loved to kill. I did everything I could to make it go the fuck away. But it had other plans. Hello, brother.
Bill.
The monkey that likes killing our family. It's back. It must be vanquished. Why don't you vanquish it, huh, Bill? Wait. We have been chosen to witness its power over life and death in its most devious ways.
All right, James.
It's a toy monkey?
It's evil. It's basically the devil.
Everybody dies. And that's life.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. All right. I don't know about Shaun of the Dead vibes. I mean, the trailer is giving the music vibes for that, but I don't think the movie's going that route.
No, I think this is, a lighter version of horror, but with some very graphic gore death scenes.
You feeling Thanksgiving vibes with that?
Yes, there we go.
Okay. So I know how I'm predicting how this goes. There it is. There's the recognition. Yeah. There's the recognition for sure. Yeah, you did not enjoy that one, but you got to. Oh, yeah, there we go. Derpy says that might be worse than the Dark Tower at a glance. So you and King Z can sit next to each other, my friend. I'll probably get a kick out of it because I'm down for the gore fest if at least it's cleverly done. It can't be the only thing on board, otherwise, then like it does drift into that schlock giving kind of situation. If it feels like Final Destination and there's like a hint of some irony in those deaths, like I'll be like, okay, that's kind of nutty. Like that would work. But,
I guess you could put it in like the way the dialogue and everything was going on. You'd probably put it in with like American Psycho.
I can see that like overly stylized. Like you said, you do Vanquishing, like that kind of bit.
And it is also like, if you actually watch American Psycho, it's a comedy. It's a dark comedy.
Yeah.
The way it falls out, and I think that's the way it could play out in this one as well.
It could be interesting. I guess it's a wait and see. I'm surprised that that's a theatrical release, right? Did I say this Friday or whatever?
Yeah, Friday, February.
Not
21st.
on streaming. Like it's not a Hulu original. You know what I mean?
No,
it's not that. It's actually a theatrical release.
Which it's been a while for a Stephen King thing to be released in theaters. A lot of it's been like streaming and shows lately. With Salem's Lot.
Besides it, what was the last theatrical movie has there been one since it? I mean, that's only like 4 years ago for part 2, I think.
Because it was it, then I think they had Dr. Sleep in between that, and then
that was around then,
part 2.
Yep, that's right. And then you're right, Salem's Lot was originally slated for a theatrical release and then got the streaming treatment instead.
The streaming treatment, and then they have
Jury's
coming out.
That's a series, like you said, though.
Yep, that's a series.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, I can't think of any other ones off the top of my head. Like, not even anything that from his dramatic line of books, something along the lines of like Green Mile or Shawshank, some of those off horror brand books that he does. I can't think of anything. No anthologies lately either.
No,
that I can think of. It's too bad. Some of those are really good. I really liked 1408 back in the day. It was much better than it got credit for. That was a book. That was a story within the anthology. I think that was Everything's Eventual, if I remember that right.
And a lot of stuff is anthologies have been turned into movies or a show.
Yeah, they're taking segments out of it.
Yeah,
it's wild. I didn't know that Monkey Shines was a short a short story until you said that. I thought that was one of his books. It makes more sense that it's probably a short story in an anthology. Was it probably like Night Crew, one of those kind of from back in the day? Like it's got to be 80s because I think I remember my dad having. I know we had the VHS because I remember the stupid monkey on the front of the box creeping me out for like
the symbols though.
The symbols, yes, there were symbols clapping. Yes,
it was the symbols.
Man, got it. Facts, big fact. Some of those covers just stay with you. You ever seen the one of the original covers for It, where it's just like the slimy reptile claw hand coming out of the sewer? Remember that one? That was fucking terrifying, man. You can't walk downstairs in a dark hallway in your house and have these kind of things looking back at you from the shelf.
So out of the two people who portrayed Pennywise, who did it better, Skarsgard or Tim Curry?
Oh, dude, I hate these questions so much. I suck at them so bad. My kid asks me these things like all the time. And I'm like, dude, I don't know, man. Can't two things just be great? I think Tim Curry was the only thing good about the made-for-TV movies. Is anybody going to object to that statement?
No.
It was not a good movie.
Just like Tim Curry was the best in Legend when we did our review of that.
Oh, dude, fact. I happen to just like that story, but yeah, it was a lot of that movie does not hold up in terms of like pacing and things like that. But there's a lot of the imagery. If you guys want to ever go back to the deep cut, that's like a year ago now, maybe even 2 years. I don't remember. But there's just some of the music in that movie really still hits for me on a level like Neverending Story still hits. So I can't dunk on Legend like that. But Skarsgård's take was evil, like straight up evil, like not trying to be funny at all ever. Like there was no quirky to that performance. So I think maybe he might even actually have saved that second film. So I remember that second film being like almost borderline hot dog shit compared to the first one.
Which was amazing because of the cast that they got to play the older version of the kids. The kids
Yeah.
blew them out of the water. The kids
dude,
nailed
smoked.
that world. Yeah.
Smoked, dude. The grown-ups didn't want them hands, and they got all of them. They
Yeah.
really did. I was listening. I was doing a retro listen to Red Letter Media a few days ago, and they did a separate piece on both of those movies, and they were like, and I agree with them 100%. They said basically what you just said. It's almost like the adults weren't needed in that movie at all, and they might have been better off just having the kids go for round 2 with Pennywise, like a month later instead of the grow up.
Yeah, do like a
life.
1 to 2 year time jump
Yeah,
instead of the adult time jump.
Yeah, so it was wildly uneven. Like the tone changed scene to scene. Like you got a jump scare rattling you out of your bones with that stupid loud sound that all these movies in the last 5 years had. That wow, like that sound that just fucking boom, it just hits. I'm like, it's a jump scare. I know I'm supposed to jump. Like fucking stop with the sound effect. And then in the next second, it's hokey 80s, 70s, or whatever pop music, and you're like that. Like I don't know what to feel. I'm confused. Like this is like breaking up with your first girlfriend. Like, what the fuck is going on? I don't know how to feel in this moment. What is this? And that was like the it situation. But I think we've transitioned nicely into. I think we're going to definitely go with this opening topic, right? With kind of the best of, more worst of. I think because I think there's more misses than hits on this list. For sure.
That's the thing with Stephen King. His books were beloved, except the endings. And then the endings carried over into the adaptations.
True. I think a lot of people forget that King's earlier stuff is far and away better than most of the contemporary stuff because he was coked out of his tree when he got into a lot of this wild stuff, like like Tommy Knockers, like a lot of those, like any of the Bachman books that, like one of them you can't find anymore. The Rage, you know what I mean? Like this dude was out there with some of the crap that he penned to paper. And I think once he cleaned himself up a little bit, maybe some of that creative fuel might have fallen by the wayside a little bit. Could have been.
That's we were talking about 90s stuff earlier. Matthew Perry, after he got off cocaine, just kind of wasn't as funny as he was before.
Which kind of sucks in it. But you obviously get the darker side to that, is these poor bastards that don't get themselves cleaned up, go the Chris Farley route, they go the Belushi route. And you lose good people anyway. So you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't, which kind of sucks. Especially because it's always the funniest of the funny that they get that ramped up. It's usually because they got some mental health stuff underneath it that drives them to want to be funny and make people laugh. And then sooner or later, sometimes you lose
the overpressure to perform.
Yeah. So Robin Williams, in the last it's been a bunch of years now since Robin passed. So that one still stings, at least 5 or 6, right?
It was 2014.
Was it? It's been 10?
Yeah.
You're kidding.
Yeah, I was in Kuwait when it happened, so
holy hell. I better pump my brakes or get started, one or the other. But I don't know how we want to tackle this, because I ran a list of the 30 movies just to remind myself what was out there. I know you got a little list of your own.
I got a little list of my own. I know it's number 1 on my worst one.
You really want to start with the worst one right away? You don't want to build, you don't want to build any lead into it at all? We're just going to pop the whole shot right now. We got an hour.
So the research I did not agree a lot with some of their worst ones, because I actually liked a few of those.
Hold on. Wait, counter. Number 1. Are the ones you like the most the ones you saw in the mid 90s when you were about 14 or 15?
No.
Okay. Because mine are.
Nope, mine are not.
Okay.
Because I've watched a lot of these later in life too, and I went back and watched them. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute.
All right. But dude, now you have my interest, sir. I tried to Leonardo DiCaprio Django that, but the D was silent. I couldn't do it. Sorry.
Yeah, the D is silent.
Django. Django. I love that movie. We should probably talk about that movie minus the other language we're not allowed to use sometimes, because I do enjoy that film. I love the over-the-top violence that he does. But anyway, we're talking King.
Yep. So the first one I would have to put in the bad side is The Cell.
Okay.
I think that was not a well put together movie at all.
Now refresh my memory, because I remember reading that book. That was the one where some electronic signal projected through cell phones did the rage virus thing, if I remember right. Was that The Cell? Like the core story?
So I mostly had notes on why it wasn't well received. The film executed a permissive apocalyptic premise, which determined lackluster with critics, and pointed out a uninspired direction and lack of tension.
Was that a Cusack movie from 2014-ish?
No, this was 2016 with Jennifer Lopez.
I'm thinking, okay, that's not the cell phone movie. I think he has another movie called, maybe I'm thinking of one called Cell. I know Stephen King has that book where the cell phone does the weird zombie rage virus thing. I've got a completely different movie in mind then.
I might remember the movie. I
remember I think the J-Lo thing is the Cell, because that's the one where she has that really weird mask.
Yeah.
She's like a criminal profiler and she ends up in a dream world or something like that. But I didn't think that was a King thing. I might have, we may be talking about two completely different movies mixed into one list.
Might. Yep.
Holy hell. For the first time on Winter Wolf's Den, we were not on the same page, said nobody ever. Interesting. We have to put the Oracle on this one.
Yep.
Let's get her,
correct us.
Correct us. Moving on to entry 2, unless we're getting, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time on Winter Wolf's Den, we are getting a live update from our behind the scenes chick in a chair. The Oracle is handling our fact check in real time.
Okay, so
Travis,
mine is wrong.
What's up, dude? Travis, it's a good thing you just got here because we're on our first entry on this list and we've dropped the ball so hard, we're now kicking it across the field to each other like a bunch of idiots. It's fantastic. It's a totally professional effort tonight. We've really nailed it in. We've nailed it.
Well, when we're in Castle Rock.
There it is. Yeah. You better needful your way through an explanation of this. That joke didn't work at all.
No, I need some needful things to get this thing right.
I think we just need to get our act together here. So which cell are we talking about? Did we figure this out?
All right. So the one I thought it was is not the one that it is. I think yours is right. Mine is wrong. Mine is
Touchdown
the Cell.
Yes.
Yours is Cell.
Yes.
The Cell has nothing to do with Stephen King.
Was the hot Jennifer Lopez movie with the weird bejeweled gold mask. I knew I remembered that for a reason, but that was from like 1995 or some shit, which should have been in our leadoff segment for damn sure. See, here we go. We're right back on track. I think it was a Cusack movie. It was about 2014, which I think put it significantly a big chunk of years away from when the book was released. And I think that always hurts these kind of movies too. I think that if they were going to ride a wave, they should have kind of, parallel track these things into production or soon thereafter. For sure. Travis says the best part of Cell is the opening in the airport, which is hilarious. I'd have to go back and watch it, dude. I'm pretty sure I saw this in college or something, or a post-college. No, wait, if this was 2014, not post-college, nursing school or shortly after. Definitely neither of those. So maybe I just didn't see it. I don't know. But I remember the cover of the book. It had the cell phone on it. And that's how I knew it wasn't the J-Lo movie. But what do you got next? Let's move on from this debacle. Oh, you got a couple. Give me a couple. Did I talk too much?
All right.
No one's here.
Number 2 is Maximum Overdrive, based off the short story Trucks.
Okay. I love me some Maximum Overdrive. I don't care that it's bad. It doesn't bother me that it's bad. It's so bad, but you gotta love a truck that's got Green Goblin on the front. You gotta love a soda machine that kills a little league baseball player by firing cans at him even after he's down.
Yeah,
like they weren't that was like the Stephen King equivalent of Jaws when little Alex Kinter gets eaten off his raft. Like that soda machine was like fuck your couch and just kept throwing shit at him.
Now, including it has the Austin Powers scene where it's running over Stephen King with the steamroller. It did. And you have him up there, get out of the way.
Dude, the only thing crappier than that could have been if they did the flattening of him when he went down. That would the cartoon flat out like they did with Judge Doom and Roger Rabbit, like the old school, like flatten you out villain thing. But dude, that movie was god awful. I'll get to Travis in a second. Just one more thought that I had there. When I was talking earlier about King being coked out of his mind, I can see this. Like he blasted a few rails and it was like, dude, what if a meteor, man? What if it just like programmed all our trucks, man? It just made the machines take no. It's good on that level. It doesn't hold up to anything else. It just can't. It should, but it can't. And then Travis adds the TV movie adaptation called Trucks is legit awful. I haven't seen that, but when we were looking around the top list to refresh our memories, I saw that come up as a honorable mention of worst of the worst on several lists, several dozen lists. So now I'm actually kind of curious now. I might have to track that down because as King Z pointed out, if Maximum Overdrive is already hot garbage, Is it possible to be flaming hot garbage? Is that like a? Do we
Yes,
need a
yes, it
classification
is.
system on the den?
Yeah,
Like just for trash,
yeah.
not for good things, just trash. We'll work on that. We'll work on that in the off season. We'll get that done. Perfect. Yeah, I don't know. Is there anything you enjoyed about Maximum Overdrive? That just you didn't enjoy trucks just running through buildings and running down people on baseball fields?
When I was younger, I thought it was a pretty good movie, but going back and looking at it as older and understanding movies, the movie just doesn't hold up as a good movie. And I mean, it's young Emilio Estevez coming.
I was gonna say it's got young Gordon. What's his name in Ducks? Bombay. Gordon Bombay. I was about to call him Gordon Ramsay. I'm like, no, Wolf. That's not it.
Gordon Bombay.
Gordon Bombay. Yeah. Pre Ducks. Couldn't help him. I feel like
was not that, Jack.
no, it was not. The cows, in fact, were not spinning circles in the pasture, and ducks were not flying together. I could do a ducks review. I got no shame. We could do at least the first two.
All right, and then my number one, the adaptation that I think they got completely wrong. It hurt me because I liked the book so much, and even though the book isn't even that great, the ending completely led it off the rails.
Single book? Because I thought you were going a different direction with. Okay, I thought you were going to say Dark Tower.
No, Dark Tower would be with it there, but my number one worst adaptation is Under the Dome, which was a series based off of one book. Now, the book was great until you got to the last 5 chapters, and the last 5 chapters just didn't make sense.
Dude, that's like fumbling at the fucking 1 yard line, man. Like that's taking it all the way downfield and then being like, nope. Dude, that's like running it in and then dropping it early, like because you thought you were already in and you wanted to celebrate. That sucks.
And then the show was kind of like what the Kansas City Chiefs did in the Super Bowl. They just didn't show up.
Didn't show. I think that's why I did not watch that show. Was that a Sci-Fi Channel show? Like a SYFY? An SYFY? Does it go back to that?
I think it was streaming. I think it was one of the first streaming ones. Yeah.
True. Yeah, I missed out
like
on
Hulu.
a lot of the other
I think it was a
shows.
Hulu original.
Yeah, I missed out on a bunch of them because I know Needful Things just did a show, didn't they? Or are they still on one, I think?
I think they're still.
Is it called Welcome to Castle Rock? That's what the actual series is called, right?
They did Welcome to Castle Rock was a series where it tried to explore the evilness of Castle Rock and how it can change people. I think it had Jeff Daniels in it.
Yeah. It had who was the old guy who was the OG shopkeeper in the first one? It wasn't Kiefer Sutherland's dad, was it?
Donald Sutherland.
Donald Sutherland? What was it? Donald Sutherland? Was he the shopkeeper in Needful Things? It might have been
like the movie Needful Things.
The OG, the original.
Yes, it was Donald Sutherland. I remember when Needful Things, because the book came out when we were in high school, like we were our freshman year when it came out, and it was supposed to be the last time Stephen King went back to Castle Rock. He did not live up to that promise.
No, he did not. I remember Needful Things. It's one of those covers that's kind of burned into my head. And then even after I stopped reading King for a while in high school and early college, like that font came back because, of course, you know it from Stranger Things. Like it's a recurring vibe that I think they used basically just to brand like the 80s and 90s at this point. Like if you want to hit that early 90s, just getting out of the 80s, style of things. I think that's what they do. They just default to that kind of electro, what's like called like electro synth kind of use that like that kind of sound, and then like that font, and boom, time travel. 1991. Like I'm right back there, man. That's just how it goes. Now, let me throw a couple at you because I've looked down, I've scanned down this list. You stole one with the It thing with the TV movie comparison. Like that's cool. It's not a big deal there. I have exceptionally fond memories of this movie, and I'm nervous to go back and rewatch it because when you talk about stuff not holding up, I think literally the only thing that's going to hold up about this movie for me is the female lead, Madsen Amick, who was on Twin Peaks. I had the biggest crush on her as a kid, like as a young teen. Sleepwalkers. It's got to be a terrible movie. You might remember this one. It's about a mother and son pair of incestuous humanoid cats who live off the life force of virgin human females.
Yes, I do remember this one. And and then that actually had a young, trying to make a name for himself outside of Star Wars, Mark Hamill in it. He was the police officer at the very beginning.
Was he the cop in that? Because I remember Madsen Amick, obviously. I remember Brian Krause as like the lead male sleepwalker cat thing. And then there was somebody else in that who I can't put my finger on. His mom, I think, was Oh, she was super famous back in the day. She was in 12 Monkeys. She was the psychiatrist that was working with Bruce Willis in 12 Monkeys. Like, not Julianne Moore. I can't think of her name. It's gonna bug me now. But she played the mom, and she was this hyper over sexualized weird mother figure in it, and it was very confusing at age like 14 watching this movie. But I remember some super hokey violence where like the mom character kills one of the sheriff's deputies with the corn of cob to the ear, like literally just like jams a corn into his ear. I'm like, that's kind of weird. Like that could work. I remember cats being the thing that could kill the Sleepwalkers.
Yeah.
Also odd. Like they like a herd of cats comes to town at the end, just scratches them up, and it kills them, I guess.
Yeah, like something about the bacteria on their claws can affect these creatures.
I have no idea how that all worked, but we know cats in mythology do the thing where they can undo the undead. Her name is Alice Creek. Thank you, the Borg Queen.
Okay.
Sorry, I read the comment off the side. Travis has I'm sorry, that was from the Oracle. Travis there, that's the one I wanted. Sleepwalkers has the cop singing to his cap. It was get the bad guy, get the motherfucker. I still remember the tune. I love Clovis the cat. One of my favorite parts of that movie. I think that's the cop that got the corn of the cob to the ear too, which was big sad.
Yeah.
But I did love that. But that movie was so weird, man. There was a part in that movie where like one of the villain's college professors tries to sexually molest him or something when he's doing like a tombstone etching, and I'm like, this whole fucking movie is weird, man. Like, I don't know. It was King, so he probably wrote that in like 82. They made a movie in 91, and here we are.
Yeah,
there's some wild shit that they did. And then here's gonna be an unexpected pick of mine, right? Because it's nothing like the short story that it's based on. This I think was also one of the other Bachman books, The Running Man.
Running Man, yes. The original adaptation was nothing like the book.
Nothing like the book, dude. The main character had the same name.
Yep.
Ben, whatever it was. I think I got like 2 copies of it because I just recently reread it when we found out it was getting the remake treatment with Mr. Top Gun Maverick himself, co-pilot guy, actor. He's on the up and coming.
Yeah.
What's his name? Glenn Powell. Is that the right guy?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And the and directed by what's his face that did not do the Ant-Man. Edgar Wright, I think, is in charge and on the script on that one. That could be wild. Did you ever read that one? Did you ever read Running Man?
I never read Running Man. I actually didn't know it was a book until way later in my life. I just thought it was a movie.
I might have to mail it to you. I have to mail you a copy of that because it's kind of wild, man. Like in the movie, we get the pre-Hunger Games, Hunger Game in a way. We get the gladiatorial, most dangerous game inspiration where, you know, Ben's gets thrown into the game and he has to get across a zone, and they don't even define winning parameters, so they just expect him not to. Ben Richards, the villain's name is Killian. I got to stop doing that. My bad, guys. I'm sorry, Oracle. I did it again. The villain's name is Killian. There's a game show and he takes a woman hostage. That's about it. Yeah, he does. In this one, they made the hostage his partner. He had 2 other humans that were with him. The gladiators were pre-Mortal Kombat characters.
It was where they sent people who had like life sentences to chance to win a second chance.
Was that the parameter from the movie? Is that how that worked?
Yeah,
because
they even had like the fake video of like, look at these guys who are living it up, still wearing their jumpsuits in like some island, and then they showed like the bones later. Yeah. Do you know who the Dreamcatcher host was?
No, I can hear his voice. I can see him, but I don't know who he is.
He was the host of the Family Feud.
Oh, get out of here! It's obvious. That's probably why he got the gig.
Yeah, that's why he got the gig.
That's probably why they gave him the gig. The wildest part of that movie is the setup for the book is so much more interesting than Ben Richards broke out of like a dissident camp and now they throw him in the Running Man game or whatever. The setup in the book is society sucks so bad that you can sign up to be on a number of different game shows, and based on your physical ability, your general health, and all the other stuff, they assign you to the game that they think you're most likely to fail at, right? So they take a guy that weighs like 300 pounds and had no physical conditioning at all and put him on a game called like Treadmills for Bucks, and they just have him run as long as he can, where he'd earn money every 10 minutes unless he died, and then like he loses it all. So they stick Ben in the cross country getaway things. You can go wherever you want. You just have to stay in society for as long as you can get. And then you get paid based on the number of time you're out until you hit like a month or something. Right. But they stuck him in that game because they didn't think he was smart enough to do it. You know, and I'm like, okay, this is so much more interesting than let's just put him in Hunger Games with gladiators. What are you going to do? It was still good. I mean, I have to mail it to you. In the movie, it's a gladiator game, right? The book it's like Take the Money and Run style game show where he runs the different places exactly. And it was so much more interesting. I think the reason that we're not going to get a proper adaptation just at the end, I don't want to spoil it for King Z, but there's a certain worst day in American history kind of event that happens at the end of the book and literally just fades to black when that happens. And I don't think we're ever going to get to recreate that kind of scene. Set in New York, a building was involved, that kind of thing. So, there you are. So it's a tough one. Yeah, Travis, right? Dude, his wife's a prostitute. His daughter's sick as someone who lives in New Hampshire. That book is even more terrifying. Dude, I could see where you're coming from on that, dude. A lot of lack of access up there. That's for sure. I know a little something about that. But I'm trying to let me get a third one in here because I like where this topic is going tonight. And the other topics we can get to or not get to. Keep the train moving. Let's see if I didn't pick another one. Here's one that you might remember. I'm gonna go a little older than Cell or The Cell, or whichever one we decided that one was. It was 2004. Do you remember it had Morgan Freeman in it as a general in the army? I think if I remember correctly. Dreamcatcher, my man.
I actually like that movie.
I did too, but I like the book more. I know it's such a stupid, tropey ass thing to say. The book was better, King Z. Yeah. We know.
Yeah,
we know, dude. You know what the best part of that shit was?
I've learned
shit
that
weasels.
So well. As my wife has pointed out, that I apparently did not read growing up because I've experienced so much letdown on movies, and she just sits there and laughs at me like you should have read growing up.
Should have read the book. Should have read the book. Should have read the book.
So, yeah, but yeah, I actually enjoyed that movie. I liked the cast that they had. Morgan Freeman was a great, pretty much he was a bad guy, but a good guy at the same time. It just his meanings.
He was just trying to save people. Like he had to quarantine some shit. Like it wasn't going well. It was spreading fast, if I remember right. Travis says, and thank you, Travis, for being here again tonight. We do appreciate you, bud. Dreamcatcher was one of your favorite Stephen King books. For a while, he even said it was his favorite. Yeah, that makes sense because I feel like it's a fairly good blend of some wild concepts, especially with the Duddits character, like the young man with the mental and behavioral health issues that ends up saving the day. That came across a lot better on the page and much less cheesy than I think it came across on screen, especially in the final battle situation. Definitely came across a lot better. But I remember there were absolutely terrifying elements of that book. Some of the body horror that went down, especially the shit weasel.
Yeah,
like that that's like alien Xeno, but like in the bum.
Yes, this is true. This is very true.
No one needs alien Xenos in the bum. It's just not a thing. It should not happen. I can't even say it with a straight face, man. That's no bueno.
Well, I mean, coming out of the 80s, the big thing was anal probes from aliens.
Yep, dude. And if Stephen King had written that book, written the book Communion or Fire in the Sky, we could talk about both of those being equally terrifying for the scenes that went on to inspire South Park's inaugural episode with the anal probe. Can we even say that? Like, we could probably say that.
Yeah, I think that's safe. Or using it or rectal probe.
Dude, listen, I'm a medical professional. I'm qualified to talk about rectal probes in a medical context. They can't strike me for that. Shit, no pun intended. But I like You know what I like most about Dreamcatcher? It reminded me of the crew from Stranger Things, but they were already grown up. Like we caught the four buddies that went back to town on the camping trip. Some of their lives had kind of gotten around to being terrible, dissatisfied with their jobs, but they were all hyped to go back on that trip, and it was just like doomed.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So you get a whole lot of that for sure.
And it also had a good mix of present day with flashbacks, proper use of flashbacks to tell the story further, to understand where the kids are coming from and who they are now in their development.
Yeah, they did a bunch of good flashbacks like that lended some context to how the group kind of coalesced and how they were kind of the typical Stephen King, like the losers club, but they stuck up for the other kid, Douglas, who we pronounce the name is Duddits, from being bullied by a typical Kiefer Sutherland Stand By Me kind of, dick villain that was going to like literally cut him up. I think Travis pointed out in the comments there, it made him eat dog shit at one point, and like they were like, hey, we're going to go tell you did that. And you're fucked if we go tell you that. And I can run faster than the wind. You won't get me. It was some good scenes with that, with them sticking up for him. It was nice. They did have some good stuff like that. And the military quarantine thing was kind of chilling to watch, 20 years ahead of like the pandemic and things like that. We're like, okay, but this thing's actually spreading and it's putting fungus in people's faces and people are actually dying. So, maybe we got to quarantine this town. We got animals running away, all that kind of cool imagery. So I thought Dreamcatcher was all right. A pretty solid entry, I thought.
Yeah, good solid entry.
I'd go back and watch that again. I think I'd watch it one more time. I wouldn't mind a second crack at that.
So, a little bit more of Stephen King movie trivia.
True.
Kathy Bates played in Misery, where
we should have talked about that.
Such a great movie. But
Damn it, we should have talked about that.
That he wrote Dolores Claiborne, the book, so it'd be adapted with Kathy Bates.
With Kathy Bates, I did. Yes, I have heard that. I've never read I've never read Dolores Claiborne. I think I've seen the movie a long time ago.
My mom watched that movie a lot. I've seen it quite a few times.
Better than Misery, in your opinion, or no?
No, definitely not better than Misery. But the performance by Kathy Bates in both of those, heart-chilling.
Because there's nothing she's not good at. She could be Bobby Boucher's mom. She could be on The Office. She could be fucking in Misery.
And now she's the new Matlock.
And now she's the new Matlock. You know what I mean? There you go. I mean, she's definitely versatile, and she has a charisma to her. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like she has chops in anything she does. I have to go back and watch Dolores Claiborne. Here's an honorable mention though, because I don't know that I can not talk about Pet Cemetery as a best of book or movie. Like I know there's obviously some issues with the movie effects wise and things like that, but not much. And I find the whole thing morbidly, grotesquely chilling whenever I watch that. There's too much to unpack there. And I unpack enough of the whole tropey. The minute I had a kid, everything changed when I watch movies. That movie is brutal to watch now.
Yes.
Oodle.
Oh, it I mean, just the opening sequence of what happens that sets up the whole story is just heartbreaking. Yeah. Like I saw the remake when they just redid it. I never saw the original one.
I saw that. Yeah. Yeah, see, I'll hit you with a little bit of alternate timeline then, since you haven't seen the original. So in the remake one, the setup they trick you, and it's they're moving into the new house. They got everything all set up. You see the truck coming. That's classic. That's OG, right? And you see the little kid walking to the road, and you're like, oh crap! If you've seen the old movie, you're like, oh, it's happening again. I can't stop it, because Dad starts running to grab the boy, because in the original the boy just gets fucking trucked. It's fucking terrible, right? But in this one, Dad catches him last second, and the sister ends up dying a little bit later on. Is that right?
Yeah.
If I'm right, if I remember correctly,
because it skids out and then it takes her out.
Right. So they play with you, and then there's another solid deviation, and I don't think the remake wasn't as good. And I bet if you went back to the OG, you'd like the tension and like the somber just sadness of that one more. The ending, I would say, of the remake is better. And I caught mad flack for this when it came out for saying this. The ending, if you remember, of the remake is the entire family except the little boy is zombified, but the closing images, they're all kind of approaching him. He's in the back seat of the car. And you're like, this kid's fucked. Like he's going down. Like you're toast. The original movie was just the main character, Lewis, learns nothing. Right. And even after his kid came back and like literally killed his neighbor, killed his wife, he fucking buries the wife, dude. Right? And the wife comes back for that closing scene. And she's like, honey, I'm home. And he's like, oh, thanks, baby. Thanks for coming back. And like the last scene, it's Denise Crosby, who was Tasha Yar on TNG. And she's got like the bloody scalp. She's got the zombie skin and shit. And of course the camera drifts down. She's got a knife in her hand. And I think he screams, and then they fade to black. So like the remake ending, solid. That's ending, but the remake of just seeing the kid in the car by himself, like a 5-year-old or a 3-year-old or toddler or whatever, that wasn't bad. The ending was not bad, but everything in between there in that remake doesn't hold up to the OG, in my opinion.
Okay.
Not strong. I put that on the list. Pet Cemetery, guys. Travis says, I actually think the original Pet Cemetery movie improves on the book. Dude, how? I'll wait. I'm not saying it's perfect, but I have very fond memories of the book really laying into the misery and agony of that situation. And that's what I want from a Stephen King book, like that character study of grief and loss and depression like a parent would suffer in that situation. We could talk about Pet Cemetery too while Travis is typing his response if anybody wants to talk Pet Cemetery 2, because it's got the Kurgan in it. Kingsley loves the Kurgan. Yeah. Dude, in Pet Cemetery 2, the Kurgan, dude, you remember that show? Was it called Bug Juice on Nickelodeon growing up? It was the Camp Anawana show.
Yeah,
Remember that show?
Yeah.
You remember you remember Budnick? The redhead, he was John Connor's buddy in T2, riding on the back of the BMX. You remember that character, the stupid redhead mullet?
Yeah.
Okay, right. So the Kurgan in Pet Cemetery 2 grabs a fucking motorcycle, revs it, and sticks it next to that kid's face and melts it off. And then his face, and then like his scarf or something gets stuck in the chain and fucking does the rest of the damage. Pretty gnarly. Kurgan.
Yeah, I've never seen Pet Cemetery 2.
You're not missing anything. You're not missing anything, dude. The main character has a dream about his mom, but she's got a dog head or something. It was not worth it. Nothing worth seeing, dude. But I think that there's a bunch of good King out there, I guess, but there's a lot of bad King as we covered extensively there.
I mean, the one of the biggest choking points is what people consider his best movie is also the movie he hates the most, and that's The Shining.
The Shinning. You're gonna get sued. Oh, I should have had that clip ready from The Simpsons. Little groundskeeper Willie. Dude, does he really hate The Shining that much, or does he just hate what Kubrick did for the movie?
He hate what Kubrick did for the movie. He hates the movie.
I don't think he hates the movie. He doesn't. I thought you meant he hated his own work. My bad.
No. He says that it totally missed the point of what he was trying to do in the book, and he hated what Kubrick did with the movie.
I've seen the movie twice and read the book once. It's not something that comes up a lot for me. Like, I get its place in like horror history, with the two girls holding hands in the hallway and like the Jack Nicholson turn with the, here's Johnny thing. Like, I get all that. Like, I'm aware, but I don't know that it's one of those things that I don't think, because we're so oversaturated with jump scares and all kinds of other weirdness now. I don't know if it would hit now if I went back to watch it again, or if I could appreciate it more. I'd have to put that on my experimental list. What do you think?
I would like to see a remake where it's more adapted towards the book, kind of like how Dr. Sleep was kind of right on with the book, which is like the sequel to The Shining.
It was about his kid, right? It was about Danny growing up.
Yeah, Danny growing up. Yeah. The kid at the he was the kid there at the beginning where he's a little different, and then it's him after he grew up after living in that. Yeah,
because he's got the Shinning, right?
Yeah,
I could see that. Travis says removing the Wendigo from the movie makes it more ambiguous to how much humanity is left in the character, who's left in the people that come back, and Victor Pascal is made into a more important. Oh, you're talking about Pet Cemetery. I was like, there's no Wendigo in The Shining. What are you talking about, Travis? Come on, pull it together. But Pascal was gross, and yeah, they definitely did play him up there. That's true. The Shining, though. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Finish your Shining thoughts.
No, I was just going to say that I think that if the story of The Shining isn't portrayed well enough in King's opinion on screen, I mean, there's no shot he could be disappointed with the performances that like Shelley Long and Nicholson turned in. I mean, they're iconic performances, especially the here's Johnny shit and her screaming at him and desperately flailing away with the bat and everything.
But what Kubrick did to them, like Shirley Long had a nervous breakdown after that, based on how
tortured in real life.
Her.
Yep. Oh yeah. No. He did things. He did things for sure.
And then, I mean, if you look back at Jack Nicholson's performance, all he was he was redoing his character from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest?
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
He didn't really change the character at all. Where was it Johnny his name's Jack. He did the Johnny thing at the
it was like the Johnny Carson show intro.
Yeah,
here's Johnny, right?
Yeah.
I think that's probably where the book is the superior entry. And I think I'm going to star a comment, Oracle from Travis here. It's at the bottom. The book gives you a better view. And this is what books do. We know this. We talk about this all the time. The book spends more time with the family before they go to the fucking Overlook Hotel. So you see Jack, whatever the character, it's Jack Nicholson. I don't think was it Jack Torrance? It might have been Jack Torrance.
Yeah, Jack Torrance, because it was all work and no playmates. Jack a dull boy.
Jack a dull boy, right? You see how the family starts, and the family already starts in like a fucked place because Jack has the drinking issue. He's got a little bit of a domestic violence problem. Like he's broken the kid's arm before. I don't even remember if they mentioned that in the movie, where like he's gone off the cuff and hurt his kid, you know. And then the taking this job was the stable option to reset the family, where we're going to go away. It's just going to be the three of us for the winter, yada yada, groundskeeper at the hotel. So you see them start at the rough place, but then the book gives you more as the hotel starts to seep into his personality and ruin him incrementally. The movie maybe just doesn't have enough time to do that. Oh yeah, there it is. King was probably pissed that Dick Halloran is killed off in the movie. Dude, if I was Dick, I'd be pissed. This dude drove from like New Jersey, took a plane, landed, and then drove through a fucking blizzard to go help this kid and takes an axe to the stomach 5 feet inside the front door. Like, come on, dude. You killed the only black dude in the movie 5 seconds after he showed up for the hero moment.
That was the trope at the time too.
Black dude died first. But I mean, it wasn't even real. The black dude might have died only in The Shining. Did anybody else die? Like, I mean, besides, you know, Jack at the end. Like, no, he saw ghosts. It wasn't slashery. There wasn't nothing there except that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Travis says the common trend is King's adaptations usually redone to end happier than the books, where The Shining does the opposite and undoes all the optimism of that. I could see that. I could definitely see that. I'm trying to think how Children of the Corn had a happier ending, except for that Sci-Fi Channel remake. You ever seen that, dude? Speaking of remakes.
No,
Not the new one. There's another new one. There's one from like 2005.
I think I watched the original one the other day. Or not the other day. I'm talking about like a couple years ago, but yeah. It was the original one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Malachi.
Outlander!
Malachi.
We have your woman! Yeah, Malachi was no joke. Yeah. He wants you too, Malachi. I'm like, oh my God. Like, Isaac's not here to fuck around, but he found out anyway. They both kind of found out.
So what is your number one adaptation, the best Stephen King movie of all time?
I mean, we're going to go right to the dramatics, and it's either the Shawshank Redemption or the Green Mile. I'm going to cheat. I'm going to take them both.
Yeah, I was doing Shawshank.
I'll take Green Mile. We just divide them easy because they're both bangers.
Yeah,
and they're horrific in their own way without being horror movies.
So after watching Shawshank, I'm just there watching, and I'm like, when is the Stephen King part going to start? And then it was the end with The Rock, and then he has to crawl through raw sewage. I'm like, there's King. There he is.
Crawled through a river of shit, came out fresh on the other side. Good stuff. Dude, I would say the King stuff happened earlier with all the sodomy. I think that was probably the earlier King in the movie.
Yeah,
I forget that.
A little bit there. Yep. Yeah.
It was definitely, and even the narration there when Morgan Freeman's like, you know, sometimes he fought him off and sometimes he didn't. There are no happy endings at Shawshank. And I'm like, I don't know, dude. It just sounded like there was. You got to be careful with that. Be careful with the verbiage. You know what I mean? Dude, if you had to put, all right, dude, I'm gonna hit you with the difficult question. Then, if I had to put those two movies head to head, which one's better, Green Mile or Shawshank?
Oh, because Morgan Freeman's performance is iconic, but you can't. Michael Clark Duncan's performance was amazing as well.
It's tough.
Yeah, it's hard.
I think Green Mile tells a more complicated story.
Yeah,
but Shawshank has a more, I think, endearing human element story. Dude, the ending of that chokes me up all the time. Where Tim Robbins meets Morgan Freeman on the beach again, and it's that the voiceover of Morgan Freeman, like, I'm happy to see my friend. I hope the Pacific is as blue as it's been in my dreams. I'm like, okay, you guys are laying it on thick, but it works.
Yeah,
like, it absolutely works. Travis says Green Mile is the one that flies by every time I watch it. Does not feel like 3 hours. Fact. But either of them, Travis, for me, if I happen, and we're flipping less because less people have cable and have it on in the background now, it's everything streaming when you want it. But if either of those was on, I would just pick it up from wherever it is and just jump back in.
So I don't remember watching this movie as a kid. Probably because, and it's one of the reasons why I was really scared of dogs growing up. But Kujo, I always thought was a Rottweiler.
No, big Saint Bernard.
Saint Bernard, yeah.
Dude, bigger. They went for bulk. Not lean athleticism. Dude, that movie is effed.
My brother.
Big brown bear.
It's a Chewbacca.
Right for real, man. Dude, did you see ever, and I don't know if this is a King, but I feel like it is, but it's like Discount Cujo. Maybe it wasn't, but there was a 90s movie called Man's Best Friend. It had Ali Sheedy in it. And in this one, the St. Bernard like dog was actually like robotically enhanced and like genetically modified just to be meaner.
I remember that one. Yeah.
That can't be a Stephen King retread
No,
of Cujo. Right? It has to be an off. Is it an Asylum Studio version of Cujo? Is that all it is?
It goes with the parallels that you see in Hollywood a lot of time, like Deep Impact and Armageddon. There was one where it was like there was two where it was like the demons were coming back. Arnold Schwarzenegger was in one, and there was another one.
Is that the sixth? No, that was the Creation movie. The cloning movie was the sixth day. End of Days. Was it End of Days with Schwarzenegger?
I think it was End of Days. Yeah. The 999 is actually everything in dreams are inverted, and it's actually or like sits, and it's actually inverted, and put one in. And it's like got a one.
Dude, that might have been the moment that a younger me knew trailers were stupid. Because I saw that, that's the mark. I'm like, no, the mark is literally the shapes of 666. You can't flip it around, add a 1, change the color to green. Like, no.
Because it was also written in Hebrew.
Right. Like, no, stop it. Stop. It wasn't like that at all. That's not how that worked, like, at all there. We got all off sidetracked with the stupid dog movie. Like, yeah, dude, I think it's, if I had to pick a horror favorite of King, as lame as it is because they stretched it into that full movie, if I'm in the mood for a quick horror, and I find this happens a lot too, if I put on a good movie, like a good horror flick, I write quicker and time blows by. The other day I had randomly put on, like, it was either Bloodsport or Kickbox or one of the two, the Van Damme movies, right? And I burned like 90 minutes of write time in a blink. And I was like, holy shit, what the hell just happened? Children of the Corn, like you said, it's been a while since you've seen it. But I put that on, and it's so structurally sound to me that I think it's got a runtime of like 80 minutes or something. And that's probably why it feels quick, because it is. But it just seems, it's like it knows what it is, and it doesn't try to string you along for 10 years with padding. Like they tell their monster movie story and then they go. Like, thank you. Goodbye.
They've had 2 attempts at this one, and I think they've got it wrong both times, but it's also just a really hard story to adapt, and that's The Stand.
The Stand and Dark Tower, or the Dark Tower series, or whichever, never read. I've never been able to read them. I never got around to them. I know of them. I know of their characters.
Yeah, like the Dark Tower is like his fantasy style type book.
It's Randall Flagg, right? And the Man in Black or whatever.
Yeah, and then Randall Flagg, his start was in The Stand. There's a tie-in.
Right. It's like the shared King verse or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
The dark Standiverse, the Dark Tower verse. I don't know. But I see. Good. I'm glad we just popped those up. Travis Mitchell says 1408 Shawshank and It Chapter 1 are probably best for you. Dude, there's a soft spot in my heart for 1408 as well. I was saying to King Z, I think before you got here, that was in the Everything's Eventual anthology from a long time ago. But it works because John Cusack is pretty, politics aside for him, it works because he plays the suffering, alcoholic, depressed, divorced ex-husband really well. So when they finally get to those reveals that the hotel room knows they can torture him by showing him his daughter and then having her crumble to ash in front of him, like that'll just light you on fire. Like that was no pun intended. It's a big fire in the hotel room, but and Travis also has a couple other favorites here, dude. Silver Bullet, good one. With little Corey Haim action in that one, right? Silver Bullet, werewolves, something like that. I think. Who's the uncle in that one? Is that the dude from Aliens? What's his name? Hudson.
I'm not sure. I've never.
No. That's like Nick. That's Gary Busey. My bad, not Hudson. Gary Busey's the wild uncle in that one that builds him the Gary Busey. There we go. And Langoliers, dude. I know you've seen Langoliers.
Oh, I love Langoliers because I listened to the book. I was actually we were in school. I went to one of my buddies' baseball games, and I had my Walkman and I had the book on tapes, and I'm listening to the anthology.
Oh my god, dude! You had the tape?
Yeah,
you had the tape or the disc?
No, it was a tape.
You had an actual book on tape. Get out!
I got it from our high school library.
I didn't know they had that shit.
Yeah. And do you know the anthology that Langoliers is in?
Is that not? It's not Highway Crew.
No,
I can't remember. Is it Nightmares and Dreamscapes?
No.
Which one is it then?
4 Past Midnight.
4 Past Midnight. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like the third story in 4 Past
Yep.
Midnight, and I really got into it. Like, I was there watching the game, and I put it on, and like I never turned the tape off until I went to bed that night. I just was so into the Langolier story. So I was kind of happy that they adapted it, and they did it justice.
They did it justice, and this is one of those things that we talk about a lot, where remakes shouldn't be just to put stuff back in theaters. Remakes should be on things that need an update for the day because the technology's come along and it can be adapted better, not because of like current politics or that kind of stuff. Yeah. I would love a modern, properly done CGI thing of the Langoliers. The effects are terribly dated from the old TV movie that had Dean Stockwell, and if I remember correctly, it was Bronson Pinchot who played Balky from Perfect Strangers. No, I will not do the Dance of Joy song on the channel. But that movie is good. Again, that's a Stephen King coked out of his mind concept where like we got struck by lightning or whatever in the plane. We went back in time by like 7 minutes, but like we're stuck. And now the past is being erased because it's efficiently being done away with. We need to get the fuck out of Dodge.
Yeah.
How do we do that? We're going to fly west.
They were stuck in between time.
Right. So as time was ending behind them.
Yeah. They were out of time.
Right. They had to like fly east to catch up to like the present moment. But my God, there's some cheese and some overperforming by like Dean Stockwell in particular from Quantum Leap. He kind of oversells the wise old professor role in a couple of places. I did not like the little blind girl. That was nails on a chalkboard for me. But like Travis had pointed out, because he did point out, I saw it off the side of my eye, the Balky Bartokamus villain role where he's just sweating cold bullets and tearing paper. I'm like, dude, that dude's a psycho.
That was the character that got me in the book, was listening to his point of view while the story's going on, and how like
his dad just constantly badgering him, right?
Yeah, and he's the one who knew about the Langoliers, and that's how he gave him the name, because it was what his dad and his grandmother told him, that if you were too slow, if you're not good enough, the Langoliers are gonna need you.
Yep. It's like this dude's, and the thing that snapped him, right, if I remember right, was that he was waiting on a business flight to get back to Boston or whatever, and every time there was a delay, he had a worse like flashback audio memory of his dad being like, "You're never going to amount to anything. You're never going to be good enough." And then like he eventually just sweating cold bullets, snaps, and then like what's he, the girl? I think he stabs her in the airport or something like that.
Yeah.
But dude, imagine contemporary Jurassic Park quality CG effects for the Langoliers, rows of razor blade chainsaw teeth on like giant beholder demon from fucking Doom 2. Like, yeah, dude, sign me up.
Yeah,
like, that would be dope. That would be dope.
Well, I think that's our time.
Dude, we killed the king topic, dude. That's where I got one more from Travis, just because I just want to say thanks for him here. And Stephen King appears, as he always does, as Balky's boss in the Langoliers at the runway at the end. Which is some good shit.
He usually tried to do cameos in most of them. He was like the original Stanley.
Mm-hmm. He had one in Sleepwalkers, if I remember. I think he was the caretaker for the cemetery. I think he had a similar one in Silver Bullet that Travis brought up, the werewolf movie. He popped in a lot of those things. But yeah, King, thanks everybody for being here. King Z, thank you for being here. Oracle, thank you for fact checking our awful blooper to start the show. Please excuse my tech blooper. That was 100% my fault. And we will save some of these topics, I guess, for another time, because some of them are kind of time sensitive, but everybody knows Falcon and Winter Soldier kind of died. So, it's going to be what it's going to be. So thanks everybody for being here again. Travis, thanks for being back. Do appreciate you. Derpy, if you're still in there, appreciate you also for being back. And King Z can read us out because we are out of time.
Well, see ya.